Hey, it's Justine Chantel.
And Nicole from Broadtree.
And you're listening to CKMS 102.7.
Radio Waterloo.
Get ready, Waterloo Region. We're revving up for our spring fundraiser. Starting on Monday, June 9th, we'll be looking to raise $1,000 in 1 week. Help fuel the tank at Radio Waterloo to keep your community radio station running so we can continue to bring you new music by Waterloo Region musicians, interviews with Waterloo Region community groups, and provide a platform for anyone in Waterloo Region to be a radio broadcaster. From June 9th to 15th, make a donation and help your community radio station take off.
This is Big Joe Shelton. You're listening to CKMS 102.7 Radio Waterloo. If you don't dig the blues, you got a hole in your soul. Tell them Big Joe told you so on the radio.
Hey yo, hey, hey, baby, I'm waiting, oh, hey yo, hey, baby, I'm waiting, oh, hey yo, hey yo, hey, baby, remember me, when the sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me, down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Hello, hey, hey, baby, I'm waiting, oh, hey, oh, hey, baby, I'm waiting, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, baby, remember me, when the sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me, down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Hello, hey, hey, baby, I'm waiting, oh, hey, oh, hey, baby, I'm waiting, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, baby, I'm waiting, remember me, when the sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me, down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Hey, hey, oh, hey, hey, baby, I'm waiting, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey. comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free, remembering down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Ayo, ayo, ayo.
You are listening to CKMS 102.7 FM radio, Waterloo, and that was Fawn Wood, Remember Me. We are Two White Feather, Lori Gentle Eagle, and we cannot forget about our bear family. Cedar Bear, our emotional / mascot, Arrow, Rogue, and Rufus. So, this is the Red Road Journey where we aim to amplify Indigenous voices to heal ourselves, our relatives, our communities, and our planet. We're broadcasting you from the traditional territories of the neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples.
One of the main points made in last week's show on solidarity was that we are all part of the web of life. Today we will be remembering together what it means to be Indigenous, as we highlight some of the teachings and learnings from the 7-day gathering that was put together around the premiere of the film The Eternal Song, Ancestral Wisdom for Collective Healing. This work resulted from traveling over a 2-year period into many Indigenous lands and communities to listen to the testimonials about the impact of colonization and the healing of those deep scars. Filmmakers Zaya and Maurizio Bonazzo assert that both trauma and wisdom is carried throughout our lineages, and they are embedded in the varied roles that we all have played in our lifetimes. Perhaps the oppressed or the oppressor, the witness, etc.
Australia, Kylie, my job says that the stories haven't been shared enough about what has happened to Indigenous peoples and how they are all connected to one creation. That our beating heart is the drum that unites all of humanity. We're going to play Treaty by Yindi. The band name means child and mother. It's a kinship term. So here it is.
Priceless land, but promises can disappear, just like writing in the sand. Treaty, yeah, treaty now, treaty, yeah, treaty now. Never get ready, This land was never given up. This land was never bought and sold. The planting of the Union Jack never changed our lore at all. Now two rivers run their course, separated for so long. I'm dreaming of a brighter day when the waters will be one. Come on, treaty, yeah, treaty now, treaty, yeah, treaty now, treaty, yeah, treaty now. promises can disappear, just like writing in the sand. Treaty, yeah. Treaty now. Treaty, yeah. Treaty now. Treaty, yeah. Treaty now. Treaty, yeah. Treaty now. Come on, treaty, ma. Treaty, ma. Treaty, ma. Treaty, ma. Come on, treaty, ma.
So that was Treaty by Yothu, Yindi, down in Australia. Researcher and musician Lyla, who we have featured on our radio show a few times already, demonstrated through her story of learning how to properly identify herself and her clans that it is transformative medicine to embrace the whole of who we are and to hold space for forgiveness, compassion, and unconditional love. Lyla shared that she grew up being told that her native side, the Dene Nation, was the important side, and to never ever talk about her European side, which was, or is, Scottish. Through the discovery of her father's lineage, she saw parallels between First Nations and pre-Christian European folks. She learned about an ancient feminine culture that was persecuted, tortured, killed, and how this trauma experienced by the wise women, the healers, the storytellers, the singers, was transported all over the world. She says that this paradigm of hierarchy, or the dominator model, as it is referred to by her friend Rianne Eisler, took a lot of violence, terror, and trickery to carve its way into our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual landscapes. We all carry this pain. With the love of Creator and the elders who loved her through all her transgressions, also known as trauma manifestations, Lyla now embraces the whole of who she is with pride, and she encourages us all to show compassion and understanding for those who are not able to grieve. And because of that, they held that destructive energy inside, which eventually perpetuated disconnection from land and culture. We're going to play a song by Lyla June. It's called Mawmalad, or Motherland, and here it is.
6 million women thrown to the flames. The library is burning, I'll remember their names. The first colonization of the human race didn't happen in America, it happened in the place of Mawmalad, mother country, the people's land, Nashajemya, the people's soil. I hear you calling. We've been afraid to look at the past and see the truth that's there. But take my hand, let's walk the land. Now you don't have to be scared. There's an ancient motherland that we have forgotten, and great-grandmothers burned at the stake for holding the earth in their hands, for holding the earth in their hands, for holding the earth in their hands. Persecuted as witches, warlocks and killers. But these were not evil people, these were Europe's healers. These were Europe's healers, they were healers. We descend from healers. This old heart of mine, it weeps away. And this old heart of mine, it feels the pain of all of our ceremonies going up in flames. But feeling is healing, and these tears are falling like rain. Feeling is healing, and this is why we remember their names. Feeling is healing, and this is why we wash away the pain. So let it rain on this land. My mother's medicine lives in the earth, rising from the ashes as we remember. I can hear her songs running through my veins as my brothers blow on embers of old bard stories, old bard stories. I will place my feet in the Tuscan streams to mend the tattered edges of my father's dreams, my father's dreams. I will see past the blood and remember the beauty of our people before the conquerors came. The conquerors came. I will not choose war, I will choose peace, and honor the ancestors that live inside of me, live inside of me, live inside of me, live inside of me.
In prayer for the healing and women and men throughout time and space, through love and forgiveness, we can arise from ancient wounding and rededicate ourselves to uplifting and honoring the feminine as the sacred force it is. And that was one of the descriptions near the end here of the song. There is a couple nice scriptures that are within the song, so if you guys can, I think you guys should actually listen to the song and pay attention to the video. The places that she went to in the video in Scotland/Europe or whatever, some beautiful scenes, and like I said, she has some nice little things like that throughout the video too. So Pat McCabe, Lyla's mother, is present in the prayers and discussions that unfolded on the first day of this online gathering. She asked the question, do we need to create a new story or go back and revisit the old? And her spirit guides provided the answer. We need to have people come together who haven't heard each other's stories, who haven't been able to gather, to listen, to hear. And this will be the retelling of the old story that will automatically change the trajectory of the future. Pat, or Woman Stand Shining, is her native name. The radical bridger of worlds says we are finding a new way of holding the global human family story as we bravely journey and ask those hard questions to unlearn and to heal.
The trickster is a supernatural being that figures prominently in many Indigenous cultures. They are shapeshifters, appearing in different forms. A coyote or raven on Turtle Island, a hare or rabbit in Africa, a bamapana in Australia, and they play dual roles and far too often break the rules and create chaos. But tricksters are not to be understood as troublemakers only. They are intermediaries between human and spirit worlds. They are storytellers who transmit traditional knowledge, lessons about survival, ethics, and relationships. So tricksters are really agents of change. Their stories resonate across cultures and offer us a way to understand the human experience. Let's listen to a story from Anishinaabe storyteller and artist Isaac Murdoch.
This is called Fisher's Story by Isaac Murdoch, so here it is.
Ani bonjour. Manzanap kinegego na be minwa bam gijik ndijnikas. Kinabe gok shabigaj watan donjaba. Gnoje gigo do dem. And my name is Isaac Murdoch, and I'm from Serpent River First Nation. My clan is the Fish, and I come from a very beautiful place. When I was a child, I remember listening to the old elders talk about stars. And they were amazing storytellers, and they had so many amazing gifts to share with us. I'm so thankful for them. They used to say, I'll tell you the story about the stars, but you have to go out on the land to understand it. You have to go fast to understand that story. And oftentimes we would have to go fast just so that we could understand the true meaning of that story. And that's how knowledge was transferred down. It was transferred down from the stars to the children. And that's how they learned. I think that it's really important to understand that these lands have requirements, that the earth has requirements. And part of those requirements are to understand how to live here. And one of our greatest teachers is the stars. And so I think it's beneficial for all people to learn about the stars because all of our teachings are there. And the Indigenous people still hold these things very close to their heart and know a lot of the information about that. And it's very beneficial for everybody to learn this.
For most of human history, we have had clean water and a pristine environment. We lived in harmony with nature. There were times, however, when we lost our way and became greedy and selfish. Each time that happened, the animals and the environment suffered, as well as the humans. Each time that happened, we learned a lesson. Once again, we have lost our way. The animals and the environment are not the only ones suffering, so are we. There is hope if we can learn from the lessons in this story.
A long time ago, the Anishinaabe were lowered here from the stars. And when they came here, they were given special instructions on how to live here. They were told, always be very, very respectful to each other. Don't be greedy with your stuff. Don't Don't create war with other people. Be good. Be very, very kind and gentle. That's what they were told. Of course, that's how they were. They were like that for a long time. They were also told, the animals, they're the ones that are going to lead you on Earth. Follow them. They're the true leaders of that world down there. Don't start making your own trails in the bush. Only follow the animal trails. The Anishinaabe were okay with that. The people were okay with that. So of course they just lived their lives along those animal trails. But somebody got greedy. Somebody decided to make their own path. They made their own path into the bush. And they broke the rules. And they started to get more blueberries. They took those blueberries and they started to pile them up in their wigwam. And they started to go moldy. They started to rot because they picked so much and they didn't want to share any of them. Well, somebody else seen that. They thought, well, they can pick more berries. I can pick more berries too. And they started to pick more berries. Then somebody else started to pick more berries. Then somebody else started to pick more fish. And then it was moose. Then it was beaver. Then it was birds. Everybody started to take more than they needed. They started to make their own trails. And everything started to rot in the village. There was just bones scattered all over the place. Fat was just rotting. Berries were just being wasted. That's what happened. And then they started to fight amongst each other. They lost their way. They stopped believing in that governance that the animals gave them. And of course they had made their own trails. But there was a power in the sky looking down on earth. That power they call Abonene, the wintering spirit. The wintering spirit looked down on the earth and thought, you know what? Those humans are being greedy. I gotta kill that greediness. So the wintering spirit started to blow its breath down on earth, trying to freeze the humans and kill them. So that of course the greediness would leave. But there was a power here on earth that was just as strong as the old man, but maybe not even stronger. It was the birds. When the birds sang their songs, medicine cast it all over everything, even into the hard-to-reach places. The old wintering spirit could not freeze the earth as long as those birds were there. He tried to blow his breath, try to freeze everything, but those songs pushed his breath back into his mouth. And so the old man decided to capture all those birds, store them in his wigwam up in the stars, so that those birds' medicine wouldn't be able to stop his breath. That's exactly what the old man did. He got all those birds, put them in a bag, stored them in his wigwam, and then he blew his cold breath. And everything started to freeze. All of the animals started to die. The humans started to die. The plants, everything started to die and perish. That old man was just happy and he just kept on blowing. So the animals, they started to organize amongst themselves. And it was one animal, the fisher, that said, we need to have a big council meeting. And Fisher went and handed tobacco to all the different animals in the forest and to the two-legged and said, meet me in 4 days. Of course, 4 days later, Fisher made a fire. And one by one, out of the darkness, the animals came and formed a big circle. They had a huge, big council meeting. And it was discussed on what to do on how to save the earth. The two-legged never showed up to the meeting. Those are the only ones that never showed up. They didn't show up because they felt bad, because they knew that they lost their way and they created this horrible thing that was happening. So the animals, they talked for many days. And it was agreed that 4 of them would go on a warrior's quest to save the earth. Fisher was chosen to go. Otter was chosen to go. The lynx was chosen to go. And of course, Porcupine was chosen. And what their plan was to climb a mountain. Once they got to the top of that mountain, they were going to jump to the stars, zigzag across to where that old man lived. Get those birds, bring them back down to earth so that their songs can melt everything. And then try to negotiate with the old man on not to blow his cold breath on the earth and freeze everything. So that was their plan. So one by one, they went off into the darkness, and they started to climb this high mountain. Once they got there, they grabbed Porcupine by the arms and legs, threw Porcupine up into the sky. Porcupine was going to the star world. But just before it got to that land, it hit a power, and Porcupine couldn't make it to the star world. And of course, Porcupine came down to the earth. And when it landed on its hands and feet and it busted them. That's why porcupines have very swollen feet today, and why they wobble when they walk. It's to remind us of what happened a long time ago, when we lost our way and we started to be greedy with everything. The next animal to make that jump was the otter. Otter tried to jump, tried to bust through that power, tried to make it to the star world, but that power was too thick. Otter couldn't make it. Otter came down, and when it landed, it hit a mountain and slid on its stomach all the way down. That's why otters slide around today. It's to remind us of what happened a long time ago, when we became very greedy with our food. The next animal to make that jump was the lynx. Lynx was strong, so lynx took a running jump and tried to bust through that power using its powerful head. And it smashed into that power and it couldn't bust through. And when lynx landed back down on the earth, it hit a big sharp piece of ice and it cut its beautiful long tail off. And of course, that's why lynx has a little tail today. It's to remind us of what happened a long time ago, when the human being started to go to war with each other. And that's why they look like they got punched in the face. That lynx, he hit that power with his face. Look at that lynx next time, and you'll know why its face is all squished in, and why it has a little tail. The only animal left was Fisher. Fisher knew if it was going to do this, it had to give something. It had to make an offering. So it dug around the ice and snow, and it found 6 frozen berries in the ice. They were bear berries. And Fisher grabbed those 6 berries and held them up into the sky and said, "Help me on this warrior's quest to save the earth," and threw them into the darkness, hoping that the powers of the universe would accept them. And Fisher jumped. When Fisher jumped, it looked up at the sky, and it seen that there was a crack in that power. And Fisher hit it just right. And of course, it busted a hole in the sky. They call Kamakawiwo'ole the great hole in the sky. And Fisher busted through and was in the star world. Fisher looked across the sky and quickly zeroed in on that old man's wigwam, and noticed that there was a big crane guarding it. Fisher thought, that crane has a big mouth. If I try to go near it, it's going to tattletale on me. The old man's going to know that somebody's after those birds. So I have to do something different. I have to try to silence that bird. So of course, Fisher climbed down that hole in the sky, got down to the earth, and started to get a whole bunch of gaundakbagu, spruce gum, the sticky stuff off the tree. Fisher got a whole big gob of that sticky tree gum and climbed up through that hole in the sky again, zigzagged across to where the old man was. Of course, Crane was really watching, but Fisher was sneaky and snuck behind Crane. Crane turned around and Fisher was there with that great big gob of spruce gum and shoved it right into Crane's big mouth. That crane couldn't say anything. How could it? But it tried. It opened up its stomach, and I was trying to push air through it so that I could scream loud. But the only noise that came out was just enough for the old man to know that something was outside. Just enough for the old man to know that maybe somebody was after those birds. So in the wigwam, the old man turned around and grabbed his bow and arrow. And when the old man looked back out, he noticed the bag of birds were gone. Fisher had already went in there and grabbed that bag of birds and was running across the sky. The old man was furious. Fisher got to that hole and started to pour those birds down that hole. Those birds all came down to earth singing their sacred songs. They started to heal everything. All of the ice started to melt. Fisher's happy. The plan is working. And then all of a sudden it heard a noise. A noise that would ring through the ages. It was the cracking of the old man's bowstring. The old man had him lined up with his bow and arrow and shot one arrow at him. Oh, that old man, his arrows were so powerful. He could go to the end of the earth, no problem, and they always hit their mark. Fisher tried to jump knowing that arrow was coming. But that arrow got Fisher right in the tail. And of course, Fisher just died and went belly up in the stars. The old man was happy that he killed Fisher. The old man was so happy. The old man knew all he had to do was go back to his wigwam, get a bag, and get all those birds again, and blow his cold breath and freeze everything. The old man knew there was going to be no more heroes. So that's what he was going to do. He went back to his wigwam, went and grabbed a bag, was ready to leave, when something happened. All of a sudden, 6 mysterious lights started to come down from that smoke hole on top of his wigwam. And when they lowered, they started to turn into human form. Each one of them had a red berry in their hand. And they told him, "We are the 6 powers of the universe. And we've seen everything from a distance. We've seen how the humans were being greedy and how they tried to waste everything, how they became a war people. But we also seen the animals and how you tried to freeze them and how you kidnapped those birds. And we don't think that's too cool. So we've made a decision. For half the year, you can blow your breath. Just to remind the people that they have to be kind, that they have to share what they have if they're to survive. And for the other half of the year, we're going to let the birds sing their beautiful songs so that life can flourish." And that's what they decided. And to commemorate Fisher for what it's done, we're going to turn Fisher into stars. And they turned the Fisher into the Big Dipper. So in the springtime, you'll see the Big Dipper in the sky, running across the sky from Bugamagizik, pouring those birds down. And of course, all life flourishes. Then in the fall time, Fisher's on its back. Blood drips from the tail where it got shot by that arrow. And the blood that paints all the trees red. And the old man blows its breath. And it freezes everything to remind us that we have to be good to each other. That we can't be greedy and overtake what we need. Then in the springtime again, it's running across the sky like this. That's what we were told. And I believe that to be true.
Today, we are suffering a massive ecological crisis caused by human beings. We are in a global crisis that will require a global response to help heal the Earth. Let's find the good in each other and focus on the strengths that we each have. Together, we are unstoppable and can achieve anything. Let's unite for the Earth and for future generations. We can do it, and we will.
So
So that was Anishinaabe storyteller and artist Isaac Murdoch with The Fisher's Story. Disconnection from the land, the waters, and each other is the work of that trickster. And tricksters the world over have been trying to maintain separation in humanity through gender, race, economic disparity, the view of our divine, and in so many other ways since they first arrived. So, how do we heal? We were introduced to an Inuk woman with shamanic lineage in the Eternal Song. And I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. I'm terribly sorry. Aviksha Raquel Sanamukik. She reminds us that healing is never just personal. It is relational, ancestral, and collective. In the film, she speaks to the ways trauma ripples through time, how colonial harm, internalized pain, and systemic violence continue to echo across generations. And yet within that pain, there is also the map for return. She invites us to trace those echoes back to their source, not to dwell in the wound, but instead to listen to what it carries, to dig into our roots, to remember the medicine that still lives in ancestral memory, in story, in ceremony. And so we cannot heal alone, and we cannot wait for the world to be healed before beginning. Personal healing and collective healing are threads of the same weave. Pulled together, they can mend what we've been told is beyond repair. And we're going to play a short clip where Raquel speaks in her own words.
While Lori's looking for that, I wanted to say this too. So, I was watching this video on TikTok, and this guy was explaining. So he got a white robe, right? If you agree, a robe that's white is white, right? The fridge is white. You know, the freezer's white. If you put a European beside, say, a white fridge or whatever, and say a native person, to be honest, the Europeans that are lighter skin are just a lighter skin of a brown. They're just light skinned brown. And, you know, and in our culture, they do say we all stem from one, right? And, you know, depending on the world you are, that's, you know, you adapted to there, so, you know, and whatnot. So sometimes your skin might be a little bit lighter compared to, say, you know, someone else. You know, so to be honest, we're all brown skin, but it's just depending on what shade of brown we are. So there's no white people, because if you do agree with it, a fridge is completely white. You know, a robe, if you get a white robe, that's white. What shade are you? Put your hand beside a robe, your arm. You're a lighter shade of brown. So we are all brown. It's just a lighter shade. So from that, I think Lori has found the little clip here. So we're gonna play that.
Okay, so here is Raquel, the Inuk woman with shamanic lineage, and in her own words, she speaks to us.
A person in pain reacts to the world in pain. A person in peace reacts with peace. That's why we need to heal, so we do not bleed out on each other. Now the white people are looking for help amongst the indigenous natives and aboriginals because they do not remember. We indigenous people can help. Use my roots to dive into your own culture. Because I can awaken my ancestors. I did that in a ceremony. So could you. We have a birthright. We have a heritage. It's still yours to take.
Yes, and that was part of the Eternal Song, a little preview of that. So while Lori's getting the computer ready, A Womb with the View will be showing that film around Truth and Reconciliation Day. So stay tuned for details on that. So that'll be in September. We're going to be showing their Eternal Song. So with that, we're going to end today's show with some music. The first song is Love Song by Kayuula Nova and Shina Nova, a mom and daughter throat singer duo. The next one is Stand By Me by Change Fellas.
Playing for Change.
Oh, Playing for Change. I'm so sorry. Playing for Change Fellas. And then Over the Rainbow and What a Wonderful Melody by Israel Kamakawiwo'ole. I know I said that wrong. I am so sorry.
It's a medley, though. So it's Over the Rainbow and then the song What a Wonderful World together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, our computer is still trying to load in. It's being a little slow right now. I'm so sorry about that, guys. Oh, so here it is. So with that, I want to say thank you for listening. And, yeah.
Yeah, and stay tuned for more details around the film that we're going to show. It's very powerful.
No, it is.
We were blown away, and we've only watched a short bit of the discussions that were also attached to the film, but you have something very special coming to you in September.
Yes, you do. Thank you, Bummerfee. Look, yeah, that was Love Song. Our next one is Stand By Me, Playing
This song
for
says,
Change.
no matter who you are, no matter where you go in your life, at some point you're going to need somebody to stand by you. Oh, yeah. Oh, my darling. Stand by me.
Roger Ridley.
No matter who you are.
What an amazing song.
No matter where you go in life, you gon' need somebody to stand by you.
I got Laura.
No matter how much money you got, all the friends you got, you gon' need somebody to stand by you.
And my fur baby.
When the night has come and the land
And this is Grandpa Elliot from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yeah.
like we see.
These are all black artists, too.
Be afraid, I won't.
And you hear the washboard in the background from Washboard Jazz.
Oh, yeah.
As your people come and stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me.
He's playing the spoons now.
Clarence Becker from Amsterdam. And we got the Twin Eagle Drum Group from New Mexico.
Oh.
Over to France now with Francois. Oh, and Brazil with Caesar Pope. Russia, Dmitry Dolganov.
Awesome.
Again, New Orleans, Roberto Luti. Venezuela, Geraldo and Dionisio. And the Congo, Junior Kisawanga. Hoki Klaus from South Africa.
That's some amazing people. Durango Deegan from Spain.
And South Africa, Sinamuvu.
Stand by me. Sifo Tazalib in Italy.
Stefano.
Oh, Stefano, I'm sorry.
And you see again from South Africa.
Not as long as you stand by me.
Fuck yeah.
Amazing. Nothing like music to unite us all, and those were street artists all over the world.
Yep. So our next one is Over the Rainbow, and what a wonderful world melody by Israel. So here it is. Oh, yeah.
From Hawaii.
And he did pass from some health reasons, but he was on American Idol. What an amazing guy.
We are melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dream that you did to, oh why can't I? Well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like a lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dream that you did to, why, oh why can't I?
This has been Steve Fonger from Kerwood.